Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to be learning about customizing the actual array adapter itself and learn how to use another built-in item layout here. The app that we're going to play around with is just a simple one that's going to show a list of birds, and actually U.S. state birds for these guys. So we got some examples here. So the state bird of Indiana is a cardinal. Washington State is a willow goldfinch, and so on. And I think California, Illinois, Michigan, and Massachusetts, we have all the states where where my current students are all working this summer. So good stuff. So we'll play around with that, and we'll take a look at a couple different layouts. All right. Good stuff. So extending array adapter. If you remember, we actually started off with the very first time we looked at an adapter was actually this array adapter, and we used an array adapter of strings, right? So pretty straightforward. We printed out everyone's name, and then we've spent most of our time since then overriding all of the different methods, providing an implementation for base adapter. Since base adapter is an abstract class, we of course needed to override everything. Although we didn't really do anything with the get item ID, but we did override all the others. And I wanted to show you sort of maximal flexibility there. But honestly, if we're just using an array or a list, array adapter already has implementations of those, right? So you can imagine if you know that your data source is an array, then get count is going to be trivial, right? So why should we have to do anything there? Get item, right? Just going to return that element from the array or list. The item ID. Get view. We still might want to customize, and all the tricks that we learned for customizing our view for the base adapter are going to work here as well, right? But we just get these other ones sort of for free. So let's play with this guy. I'm not going to have you write nearly as much code this time. So go ahead into GitHub and go ahead and download the starting code. Rename it. Do what you need to do. Okay, I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, when I unzip my file, I get array adapter XYZ. Easy enough to rename, so I can hit Control-Shift-R. Or let's see, let's try this guy here. Refactor, Alt-Shift-R. Sorry about that. So you can go ahead and put your initials there. Let's go ahead and do that. And if you want to change the name of the app when it shows up, you can go into strings and go ahead and personalize that as well. All right. So what do we got here? We have main activity and we have a state bird. We can look at it here. We can look at it on the slides. It doesn't so much matter. State bird is essentially my model object, right? So each state bird has a name and it has a state that it goes along with. I have a simple constructor for each of these fields. I have a toString method that I have, and then I have a couple of getters here, a couple of accessors. So nothing very surprising there. All right, main activity. If we look at this, I started off by going ahead and creating an array list of state birds, and I added the ones that we saw before, and then I created an array adapter of state bird, right? So we did this something very similar to this in the beginning, only before we just had strings. But now I have state bird, and I'm making it a new array adapter of state bird, passing in the context. I'm giving it a layout. I'm going to use the same sort of simple list item one that we used way back in the beginning, and then I'm going to pass in the list, right? Go ahead and capture the list view, set the adapter, and we're good to go. We can run the application, see what we get. Okay, and it comes up, and it has the names of the birds and each of their states, right? So bird name hyphen state name. Well, where'd that come from? All right. How closely did we look at this guy, right? So bird name hyphen state name. That makes sense. We just basically called the toString method here, right? This right here is a text view, so it needs some text to put in there. So toString seems to be a natural thing to pass in. But what if we wanted to do more than that, right? So let's get caught up here in the slides. So there's our starting code for each of the classes. Looks great, but we're gonna have to override something, right? So where are we gonna override it? Say we wanted to get that two row view. It turns out that this guy is also a built-in view here. This is an expandable list view, right? Something like that, and it has a couple of rows. So we're going to need to do something with that, right? So we're going to have to override our array adapter class, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So how? Well, simply, we're just going to make a new Java class here called bird adapter, and it's going to extend array adapter of state bird, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to have it so that our main activity is going to pass in sort of itself and the birds, right? That's what it knows about there, and that's the minimum that it can get away with passing in, right? The layout will sort of hard code within our adapter, right? So what is it going to do? So we're going to have a constructor here that takes a context and a bird, and then we're going to have to call a super constructor, right? So this is going to go ahead and say, hey, array adapter, I'd like you to construct one with a context, and it's going to require a layout. And if we use this guy right here, this is a compound layout itself. So we're also going to have to pass in a reference to some text view. We're going to choose to use text1, but we're going to end up overriding get views anyway, so it's not going to matter. And then we're going to pass in our list. Okay? So let's start off with that. So back here, new Java class, and we'll call this guy bird adapter. And this guy is going to extend. Oops, I guess I could have done it in the wizard there. It's going to extend array adapter of state bird, like so. We'll import array adapter, and then it's going to complain that we don't have any constructors here. We'll use the simplest one. So this takes a context and a resource, right? Going back to my main activity, let's call this constructor, and then we'll fill in the guts to it, right? So I no longer want these lines right here. Instead, what I want to do is construct a bird adapter. I'll also call it adapter. And that's going to be a new bird adapter. And it's expecting a context, so this, and it's expecting a list of items, which is going to be our list of birds here. Let's see. It's complaining here. It's saying that this guy is undefined. Let's go back here, and it looks like we actually grabbed the wrong constructor. Let's go fix this guy. So bird adapter didn't like that at all. So let's. I know what it's going to want. I just want Eclipse kind of to help us here. Click on this guy, and let's see. So bird adapter, we want one that has a list here. So the last item we want to be a list. So this will be great. So we want a list of state bird, and it's saying to essentially it needs this kind of a constructor. It's actually lying to us. It really doesn't need all of these. In fact, we can take these guys out. As long as the call to the super constructor is going to supply those. So for a resource, what do we want? We're going to want the built-in android.r.layout, and we will take the let's see, simple expandable list item 1. Okay. The next parameter is a resource ID of a text view. So this text view here is going to be android.r.id.text1. Okay. And then the objects, so I guess that's what it named them. We know that they're birds, so let's go ahead and rename that as birds there. All right, so we basically just sort of adapt the constructor to do what we want it to do. And if we were to run this right now, not very much exciting would happen. In fact, we see that running it here basically gives us no different than what we had before, right? So really the power comes in using this, right, and sort of overriding get view. So let's go ahead and do this here. All right, I'm going to start typing get view, control space, and it'll ask me what I want to override. So that should look familiar. What we want to do, this guy is returning a view. Now it's interesting, this super call is actually doing a lot of the work for us. So it's you know, normally we had to check to see if the convert view was null and everything. Super view call takes care of all that. What we want to do is split this up though, because we need the access to this view. We can't just return it. So I'm going to save this guy out in a local variable and then just return that view. All right. And it's worth a comment here. So the array adapter get view, so that's the super method here, takes care of recycling views if it can. All right, so just worth noting, since we're going to be doing this a bit simpler. All right, so what do we want to do with our views here? So we want to set the text views, right? So remember, we have a bird. In fact, if we were to call get item on the position that we're asking for a view for, that should return an actual bird itself, right? So that is a state bird, and that's going to get the result of get item. Now we want to get its name and state into the text views that are part of the actual layout here, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So we need to capture some views to put this. So text view, and this is the first one here is going to be the bird name view, I guess, if we wanted to call it that. And we're going to be doing a find view by ID, but again, we're going to be finding it within this view here. So view.find view by ID, r.id and there's nothing that comes up here because it's not one that we've defined. So let's try the other, android.r.id. Oops, typed the wrong thing here. Android.r.id. And we have text1 and text2. So let's go ahead and grab text1. So that's the first text view within our 2-line item right here. So let's go ahead and import that guy. And let's see, let's do a cast as well, as we usually do. And then we'll take our name view here and we will set the text of it to what? Well, to the name of our bird. So bird dot get name. All right. And then we're going to do the same thing for the state that the bird comes from. So we've got a second text view right here. This will be our state view, and that's going to be casting to text view, view dot find view by ID, and this guy is going to be android.r.id.text2. Yeah, we saw it before. And we're going to use this state view to set its text to the bird's state. Okay, so kind of split it up into a couple of parts there. All right, and that really should be all we need to do. Let's fire it off. So I fired this guy off, and I got a null pointer exception, and it's saying that our problem seems to be at get view at line 28, and I'm trying to see whether it's giving us any other useful information. A lot of information about where it came from, but the problem right here is on this guy, bird.getState. So so that would mean that bird would have to be null here, or state view would have to be null. So it's going to be one of those two things. Let's see, what could it be? Don't see anything here, so let's go back to our slides and get them caught up. All right, so did that, so made a bird adapter, looks good. If we wanted more information about our expandable list here, go see this. This is actually the source for our expandable list item 2. Oh, wait, yeah, there it is. Expandable list item 2. I think it's the 2 gives us a 2-liner. Forgot about that when I was typing. Everything else looks okay here. So let's go ahead and make that change in the code. So expandable list item 2, and let's try that guy. Yep, much better. So there we go. So we have our 2 lines. I kind of like the formatting in this one, how it sort of has a major thing and then a smaller font size underneath. Scales beautifully, looks great. Just to let you know that we could further customize this. Clearly you could go in here. Let's just say we wanted the name view to show up in a different color. So I think I had it as being yellow in the first slide there. Yellow for birds. Oh, sure, why not? I like yellow. So we could set the text color there and rerun it. And voila, we get yellow. All right, looks good. Getting the slides caught up. Again, there's not much going on here. Really, the nice thing is about array adapters is that we did not have to override all 4 methods. Just get view here. And in fact, even within this, we didn't really need to do that much work. With the convert view, we just let the super call take care of all of that. And then all we needed to do was basically fill the data. And the way that we did that should be fairly familiar to us. We go ahead and extract out the actual model object from our array list, and then we needed to capture the text views where we wanted to stick stuff. Again, using the little trick that it's not this.findViewById, it's the view where we want to find it, and then we set the appropriate properties, right? So pretty straightforward. That's about all we got for now. All right, so we will see you next time.